Call this meeting of the Fremont County Board of Commissioners to order. If you will please rise and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Commissioner McFall.
Present.
Commissioner Bell.
Present.
Commissioner Payne.
Present.
County Manager Bryant.
Present.
County Attorney Jackson.
Present.
Planning and Zoning Director Garrett.
Present.
All right, thank you. Next, we move on to approval of the agenda.
Mr. Chair, I believe our agenda stands as presented this morning, so I move to approve.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the agenda. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Commissioner Payne.
Aye.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Motion carries.
On to the consent agenda. We're not scheduling any public hearings at this time.
That, Mr. Chair, move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Payne.
Aye.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Well, we're just cranking this deal right out. Okay, on to administrative and informational. We'll start with staff reports. We have elected officials report. County clerk's monthly report. Mr. Grantham.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Total motor vehicle fees, sales tax, and recording fees collected for the month of October of this year are $1,355,064.31. Fremont County's portion for disbursement is $764,083.86, which is a 56% of the total fees and is $91,307.80 less than October last year. Year to date, our office is still up $168,587.49.
So that's down quite a bit from last year. What's happening? They quit buying new cars?
Pretty much.
Finally?
Well, we
All
hope
the hail
not.
damage is done with.
No.
Long term, we certainly hope that's not the
Yeah,
case.
slowed down maybe a little.
Mr. Chair, I move to accept the county clerk's report for the month of October 2019.
Second.
And moved and seconded to accept the county clerk's report. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Commissioner Payne.
Aye.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right, now we will move to county manager report. Ms. Sunny Bryant.
So I just have a couple of quick items. We are continuing to work on the Department of Local Affairs grant to help with the build out of Pathfinder Park. We did have a quick phone conversation last week with a representative from the USDA, and so we're looking at additional options that may go through that program for the build out as well. And then we have our interim audit scheduled for the week of December 2nd. So it is hard to believe we are already discussing the audit, but we're hoping to get that process kicked off here at the end of the year, and then we'll close out 2019. And hopefully next year will run smoothly with the audit process. So that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Any other reports? I just want to say one thing. We're a day after Veterans Day, but thank you to all the veterans who served and those who are currently serving. I didn't get a chance to do that prior to that, so much appreciation to anyone serving or who did serve. Thank you very much. All right, any citizens who wish to speak to the commissioners?
I don't see George here
George
this
is
morning.
Not here.
Listen, George.
Our most faithful attendee is
We
not
almost
here
put
this
that on
morning.
the agenda,
so-
George's report.
George's report. Okay, we have no old business. We'll move on to new business. First item is a Fremont County Adoption Month proclamation, and we have Ms. Carrie Porter from the Department of Human Services here this morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Gonna
Good morning.
Sit there and watch it.
She's here for emotional support.
Yes, she is, yes. Yeah, I'm happy I'm actually taking over the adoptions, supervising adoptions. So, she joined me this morning. So yes, thank you guys, appreciate it. As you guys know, November is adoption month. We actually just celebrated an adoption last Friday with one of our local families, so long time coming. Very, very happy adoption on Friday, so.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was great. Whereas National Adoption Month is celebrated every November throughout the United States by government agencies, courts, child advocacy organizations, and families across the nation, and whereas Fremont County is proud to join this national celebration in providing national awareness, celebrating children and families, and calling the nation to action in finding families for children waiting in foster care. And whereas nationally, 102,000 children in foster care are waiting right now for an adoptive family. And whereas Colorado is currently recruiting for 300 children who are free for adoption. And whereas to help these children find permanent, nurturing families, the Fremont County Court opens their doors every month, as well as for the month of November, to finalize the adoption of local children and join other organizations to celebrate adoptions. And whereas this effort, along with similar celebrations in all 50 states, the District of Columbia, and Puerto Rico, will offer the chance for children to live with stable and loving families and encourage other dedicated individuals to make a powerful difference in the life of a child through adoption. Now, therefore, we, the Fremont County Board of Commissioners, do hereby proclaim November 2019 as Adoption Month in Fremont County, and in so doing, urge all citizens to join in a national effort to raise awareness about the importance of adoption.
All right, thank you. I noticed that the other day there was a story on the news about the need for adoptive parents, whatever you call them. So it's not just local, it's national, it's everything like this reads. So it's pretty amazing. I was also in the courthouse for a meeting a month or so ago, and there was 2 adoptions going on. That was pretty amazing to see the amount of people that were there and the smiles on their face because they just come out of the rooms.
Absolutely.
It was pretty
Some
cool.
of them, that courtroom is full.
Yeah,
Their supports, yeah, they're great.
pretty inspirational actually.
I think we've all had the opportunity to sit in some of those adoptions, and it is one of the most emotionally uplifting things and experiences we will ever have. So they're pretty amazing.
Lots of tears of joy, for sure.
Absolutely.
We always cry. We were crying at the one on Friday.
So I see that you are saying Colorado currently is recruiting for 300 children who are free for adoption. Do you have any idea how many of those are in Fremont County?
So we are actually, I don't think we have all of our kiddos right now that are legally free are pretty much in an adoptive family. We have a couple of kiddos that we just moved hopefully to their adoptive family, but we're pretty lucky here in Fremont County that we try to make sure that they're in an adoptive home before termination of parental rights. So that way we do know that they will have a family. So
That's
we have
wonderful.
maybe
So
a couple.
that's something
Yeah.
really to celebrate during Adoption Month.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
After 7 years.
All right, commissioners.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the Fremont County Adoption Month proclamation.
Second.
Has been moved and seconded to approve the Adoption Month proclamation. Any further discussion?
Just thank you and the entire Department of Human Services for everything you do, not only for children who are looking for adoption, but every other need that we have out there as well. It's a really tough job that you guys have, but you do it in an incredibly admirable way, so thank you.
Thank you.
Same thing. Thank you guys for what you do. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Payne.
Aye?
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you guys
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you.
Thanks so
Yep.
much.
Keep up the good work. All right. On to item number 2 is the economic impact of the Extension Service to Fremont County. And we have Mr. Jeremy McNeely here, who's the CSU Extension Director. Good morning, Jeremy.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you guys?
Wonderful.
Great.
How are you?
How are you?
I'm good.
Good.
Good. Well, first of all, thank you for allowing me the time to present these findings that we found. And I started this last year after working with Sonny. I was the first-time county director, and so I really never worked with the money portion of this and working with the counties. So I really wanted to see, where are we doing what we need to be doing? Are we actually making that impact based upon what you guys are putting in taxpayer-wise? So, Fremont County and 4-H have been providing wonderful opportunities and education for its youth since 1916. Since the program is taxpayer funded, it is important to make sure that 4-H and extension programming is viable to the community and provides youth with tools to become productive citizens. It is also important to study the economic impact that 4-H has on the counties. So essentially, what is the bang for your buck?
Hey, Jeremy, when you're talking, can you take that mic with you?
I can.
So that on the recording or
Thank
people that
you.
are watching can hear
All
you?
right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. So, what we do know is that 4-H does what it's meant to do. In 2011, Tufts University completed an 8-year national longitudinal study of positive youth development that compared 4-H with other youth-serving organizations such as Boy Scouts, Girl Scout, and Boys and Girls Clubs. The study findings showed that compared to their non-4-H peers, young people in 4-H are more likely to report better grades, less likely to engage in risky behavior, more likely to pursue careers in science, engineering, and technology, 2 times more likely to plan to go to college, 3.4 more times likely to contribute to their communities, 2.3 times more likely to exercise and be physically active, and 3.4 more times likely to delay sexual activity by grade 12. So obviously these are the results that we want to see. It's the whole reason we do what we do. However, many elected officials, such as yourselves, look for economic data to help make sound decisions regarding wise and appropriate use of public dollars to support educational efforts such as 4-H. So luckily in 2012, an economic contribution pilot study was conducted on 3 Colorado counties. And then in 2013, the economic contribution study was expanded to all of Colorado, and both state and individual county contributions were calculated. So not to go into too much detail, but the research group used 4-H record books to determine money spent. They used the in-plan software to perform an economic contribution analysis of 4-H. Since input-output analysis looks at linkages to the economy, they also used direct effects, indirect effects, and induced effects to calculate their output multipliers. The total output multiplier then is 2.02. And also because dollars spent ripple through the economy differently, all direct expenditures were assigned to one of the following industries based on the 4-H project to which they were attributed. Those industries were cattle ranching and farming, poultry and egg production, animal production, except cattle, poultry, and eggs, support activities for ag and forestry, retail, electronics and appliances, building materials, food and beverage, sporting goods, hobbies, miscellaneous, vet services, photographic services, fitness and recreational sports centers, and state and local government. So the statewide average expenditures per member by selected projects come up as this. So goats average about $752 per member. Alpacas $1,724. Rabbits, beef is a big one at $3,265. Horses is a huge one at $4,801. And then even shooting sports and general projects bring money into the economy. So for 2019, Fremont County, we had 25 kids and goats. That's an average project expenditure of $18,800. Rabbits, we had 15 at over 5,000. Beef, 13 at over 42,000. Dog, we had 19 kids for almost 13,000. For fowl, we had 20 kids at 7,000. Horse, we had 14, that's 67,000. Sheep, we had 7 at 7,000. Swine, we had 26 kids at 29,000. Shooting sports, we had 60 kids at 25,000. And general projects, we had around 100, and that average expenditure is $12,500 for a total of $227,687. So if we take that $227,687, we multiply it by our total output multiplier of 2.02, we get $459,928 into the Colorado and Fremont County economies because of 4-H. This $459,928 also generates approximately $7,315 in indirect business taxes, which include excise, sales, and property, and it plays a role in employing 2.5 people in Fremont County. Other interesting numbers, last year we had over 100 volunteers in 4-H. The state average for a 4-H volunteer is 128 hours of service with a value of $25.10 per hour. So at 100 volunteers at 128 hours times 25.10, you're looking at $321,280 worth of volunteer time given to the county. We also have our Fremont County, Colorado Master Gardeners. They accumulated around 407 hours of volunteer time, which is equivalent to $10,215. So Fremont County Extension volunteers provide $331,495 worth of community service to Fremont County. If we add that to our economic output, we get $791,423. Also, I wanted to point out Colorado State University's impact on extension and the county as well. Because of Fremont County's commitment to extension, you have access to a variety of agents and resources from the whole extension network. We have ag economists, water specialists, rain specialists, horticulture specialists, economic development specialists, just to name a few. And we've used all of those in this last year. Extension is also the front door of the university, and we have partnerships with the Colorado Water Institute, CSU Online, College of Ag Sciences, College of Engineering, College of Health and Human Sciences, College of Vet Medicine, and Biomedical Sciences, and the College of Natural Resources. Now, I know that's very hard to read, and I apologize for that. But hopefully this pen works. It does. So right up here at the very top, it says county contributions. And so in 2018, Fremont County put in almost $200,000 into 4-H and extension. CSU put in $226,000, and then about, I don't know what that number says, my vision's going bad, but anyway, a lot of that was self-funded as well.
Looks like about 14,000.
Thank you very much. So total contribution, you know, is like $425,000. So what the important number here is what I wanted to show you was the return on investment. For every dollar that Fremont County puts in, CSU puts in $1.13. So I really wanted you to be aware of that number right there. So CSU, I was happy to say, is doing their part as well. So in conclusion, this study's goal was to see if we live up to what the county spends a year on extension. We hope that the input-output analysis, the volunteer hours, in correlation to their monetary value, and the effects of the positive youth development study proves that the county can justify spending tax dollars on extension programming. And right at the same day you're approving the budget. I didn't do that on purpose, I swear. We will keep striving to be pragmatic in our approach to programming in an effort to continue to use what works and implement change when it doesn't. And as always, we welcome input and collaboration with our county partners to provide research-based, timely, and sustainable education for all citizens of Fremont County. That's all I've got. I appreciate you.
It's an interesting report to see the numbers. You kind of think about it and we talk about it, but when you see those numbers out in front of you, it makes a huge impact. And it also made me have a flashback of how much money I spent when I was in 4-H on those steers and those sheep and those hogs.
Right?
If I had all that money now, it's kind of crazy. One thing you said about volunteers and the number of hours that volunteers put in, you've had over 100 of them, but there's always room for more volunteers.
Always.
What can somebody that wants to volunteer with 4-H, whether they have kids in 4-H or not, that wants to help, what can they do? Where can they get a hold of you?
They can come talk to me, they can come to our office or call, and we will be happy to get them an application. They have to go through a background check, and then we'll put them either within a club or within a project that they feel comfortable and they feel like they can have the biggest impact.
So listening to this presentation and all those numbers, I kind of felt like I was in one of those Visa priceless commercials, because the end of this conversation should have been something along the lines of, you know, for all that money that is being spent and everything that we're getting for it, the experience that kids have in 4-H is absolutely priceless.
Right.
The responsibility that they learn, every single thing that a child learns in 4-H truly is priceless, because it will help them through their entire life. And I do understand that extension is much more than just 4-H, but that's the only side I'm addressing right now.
Right.
And like Commissioner McFall, I also grew up with 4-H. I was one of those general projects kids. And I know Commissioner Payne, I don't believe was in 4-H, but he married into a 4-H family. So I think the three of us all can sit up here and understand what this program really does mean to not only the kids of Fremont County, but to their futures and to their entire families. So thank you for you and your staff and everything that you do every single day.
You're very welcome. We appreciate you guys. This is an outstanding group. I'm
Well,
not gonna kid you.
I think your slide number 4, which talks about that, which is the what kids are more likely to do, get better grades, less engagement in risky behavior, that type of stuff. I wish I could say I got better grades because I was in 4-H. That didn't happen to me. So,
Yeah.
but a lot of these other things, I mean, it does help prepare for the future. Give kids ideas what they want to do, can do, what's available out there. Plus, you guys give them the resources to help them reach those plateaus that they want to go to. So, again, that's just one part of what Extension does. But it's pretty amazing. It's an amazing opportunity 4-H is. So those not in 4-H also come to you guys and get your kids signed up for 4-H. What age groups, what does 4-H start at? What age group?
Well, they can start off at 5 years old, and they'll be in the Cloverbud Project, and they do that from 5 to 7 years old. And then at 8 is when they go into regular 4-H and can do any other projects.
Start buying goats and sheep.
Start buying goats and sheep. Yeah. Yeah, well, I appreciate you guys recognizing that aspect of it. Obviously, that's why we do it, but I really wanted you guys as the check writers to also have that security blanket, knowing that, yes, we are actually impacting in different ways too.
And I think that kind of falls into the, we've mentioned before about Pathfinder and trying to get something going on out there. We can move the fair out there, make it bigger and better.
Yes.
That'll also enhance all of what you just talked about, whether it be economic impact or the 4-Hers impact, all that. So if we can get something going out there like we're trying real hard to do right now, I think it'll be a plus, a win-win for everybody, the county, the kids, the parents, everybody.
I agree 100%. Absolutely.
Very good. Any other comments, questions?
Thank you, Jeremy.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you guys
Appreciate
very
it,
much.
Jeremy. All right.
You kind of just skipped over that risky behavior thing, didn't you?
Yeah, I had to just skip the grades, but not the risky behavior part. We'll go on to item number 3, which is approval of the chairman's signature on a Colorado Department of Transportation, Colorado Aeronautical Board, Division of Aeronautics grant. It's a resolution. Sunny, would you mind talking about this a little bit?
Sure. So this goes with the prior grant agreement that had been approved with the FAA. So there's actually 3 pieces to this to the funding of this project. The FAA is contributing $87,435. The state aviation grant is for $4,857, and then the local match is $4,858. And with this, we're actually doing the design work for the runway upgrade project out at the airport. And so we're working with Armstrong Consulting, who's doing that design. So this is the state grant agreement. And one of the newer requirements to go with this agreement is requiring a resolution as part of that. And so that's why there is a resolution number being requested.
So continued upgrades at the airport, which is what we're always striving to do, and this is just a small piece of that. Commissioner, this would be resolution number 30.
3.
Should be 30.
We just had a discussion over here.
So sorry, Mr. Chair. There's a discussion coming up about the amendment to Fremont County zoning resolution that was just approved as 31, but we have it as 30 being approved on October 22nd, or 2019.
Is that the one that was assigned but not?
We didn't need a resolution.
We didn't need? So in order to can we just reassign that one to this now then, which would make it number 30? Because we assigned it but didn't need it for that particular one. We just need these minutes to show that it was assigned to this resolution.
Okay.
Okay? So it is number 30.
Okay.
All right, with that, Mr. Chair, I move to approve the chairman's signature on a Colorado Department of Transportation, Colorado Aeronautical Board, Division of Aeronautics grant, along with resolution number 30.
Second.
Has been moved and seconded to approve the chairman's signature on the Colorado Aeronautics Board Division of Aeronautics grant. Any further discussion? It is the grant resolution, which is number 30. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Bell,
Aye.
Commissioner Payne,
Aye.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Motion carries.
It's kind of hard to say real quick, Colorado Aeronautical Board.
Take your time.
Yeah. Okay, we can practice that for 5 minutes. We'll take a recess till 10 o'clock where we do have a public hearing scheduled for the proposed 2020 Fremont County budget. We're in recess. this meeting back to order. Before we start with the public hearing, we're gonna straighten up a housekeeping. Under the consent agenda, we had number 6, resolution number 31, which was an amendment. It was actually worded wrong. It should have been for transfer of ownership, which we do not need.
No, Brenda's saying no.
Yeah, that's what 31 was assigned to,
Okay, okay.
which we do not need. Resolution number 30 that we just spoke about under number 4,
3.
or number 3, I'm sorry, under new business. Number 30 is assigned to those regulation zone changes, correct?
Correct.
The amendment, 13th Amendment.
Yes.
Number 6 on consent, okay.
Yeah, so number 30 on number 3 under new business is correct. What we need to clarify is under the consent agenda, number 6, should have been resolution number 31, which was for a transfer of ownership. Number 31 resolution is not needed, therefore should not be assigned to that, correct?
All right. Resolution number 30 is the 13th Amendment to the county zoning resolution,
Right.
as stated in item 6 on the consent agenda. Instead of 31, that should be 30,
Okay,
correct?
Correct.
Number 31
will be assigned to number 3, the aeronautics
should be
grant.
assigned to the aeronautical grant resolution,
Okay.
leaving number 32 yet to be assigned.
32
32 's
was assigned, but it'll go on to
Right,
33.
32 is-
Okay,
32 is now unassigned, is that correct, Justin?
No, with the approval under new business for consideration, number 3 was just assigned number 30.
No, the question is number 32.
Is number
Has
32
been assigned.
has been assigned to the suspend fire restrictions as of the approval of the
Okay.
special meeting on October 29th.
okay,
So number 30 is the 13th Amendment.
yes.
Number 31 is the aeronautical grant. Number 32 is suspension of the fire ban,
And 33 is yet assigned.
is unassigned.
So what I need is a motion to correct the consent agenda number 6, which stated resolution number 31 to resolution number 30 for the 13th Amendment of the Fremont County zoning regulations. And number 3 under new business, which we just assigned, resolution number 30 needs to be resolution 31, which was for the aeronautics grant.
Correct.
All right, Mr. Chair, I move to change resolution number from 31 to 30 on item number 6 of the consent agenda for the amendment of the Fremont County zoning resolution, as well as change the number under new business, item number 3, change that from 30 that was just stated to 31.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to correct the resolution numbers for item number 3 under new business to number 31, and item number 6 under the consent to resolution number 30. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Commissioner Payne.
Aye.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay, sorry about that, Mr. Clerk. We'll try to avoid that next time. Okay, on to the public hearing. We do have the proposed 2020 Fremont County budget. I'll turn it over to Ms. Sunny Bryant.
All right, good morning.
Good morning, Sunny.
Good morning.
So we have had the budget posted on the county website for the last 3 weeks, actually. And there is a paper copy available in the administration office in room 106 of this building, if anybody would like to come in and look at that. And so we will go through the 2020 budget proposal. So the budget strategy in 2020 is very consistent with what we've been doing the last few years. It's to provide quality services to the Fremont County citizens, provide a fiscally responsible Fremont County budget, preserving Fremont County assets, maintain the fund balance in the various funds, and address the increased requests and increased expenses as we continue to move forward. The significant issues that we are looking at for 2020 We are projecting an increase of 12% in the assessed valuation from the 2018 assessment. So these are the values that are assessed in 2019 and are collected in 2020. That means we are estimating an increase in revenues of $455,848 for general fund, $38,793 for the Department of Transportation, $146,194 for the Department of Human Services, and $17,374 for the airport fund. We are projecting a retail sales tax increase of about 3% from the 2019 estimate. We continue to see these amounts increase over the last few months, and so I think this is incredibly conservative based on the numbers we're seeing. We are projecting the auto use tax collections to increase slightly from 2019 budget, but actually a decrease from the 2019 estimate. So in 2019, we budgeted very conservatively. We're seeing an increase of that amount, but we're still being very conservative in the 2020 budget. And we're projecting the construction use tax to increase slightly from the 2019 budget, but once again, it's less than what we're estimated in 2019. And so we're being very conservative in our 2020 budget revenues. Some other things that we're looking at include, we're actually looking at our salary scale, and we are proposing a new salary scale, which would actually allow employees to receive annual step increases up to year 14 that they're employed with the county, instead of our current system, which in some cases there are 4 years in between where employees are getting a raise. We are looking at various options for our self-funded insurance. So over the last couple of years, we've seen the increase in the medical bills that everybody else has been seeing. And so our fund has been taking a hit on that. So this year we're actually soliciting some proposals from various organizations looking at that. We're addressing building improvement needs in various county-owned buildings. We're currently working with a company to look at our county assets and come up with proposals on how we can make sure we're maintaining those and come up with a true improvement plan to address some of the larger needs as we move forward. We're keeping up with increased operational costs. We are building reserves to be used as match for bridge replacement grants. So we're using PILT funds that we're setting aside each year for that. And then we're also exploring various grant opportunities that can be used on various county projects. So looking at the general fund total revenues from 2013 to the 2020 budget, the graph indicates that in 2013, our total revenues were $11,157,000. And as you can see, the 2020 budget for total revenues is about $12,909,000. And if you take that over the course of those years, it's approximately a 2% increase each year. And so even though it looks like it's a substantial amount, if you spread that over that entire amount of time, it's about 2% each year. So the property tax collected from fiscal year 2013 to the 2020 budget, in 2013 we had collected $5,184,139, and this year with that assessed value increase of about 12%, we're looking at property taxes of $6,112,308. So we are keeping a close eye on the residential assessment values that we're looking at over the next few years between the Tabor and the Gallagher amendments, and that could impact us depending on how all of that moves forward as well. The retail sales tax from 2013 to the 2020 budget, and this excludes the sheriff's 1%. So this is just the 1.5% that actually goes between general fund and the sales and use tax fund. So going back to 2013, the collections were $3,803,085, and what we're budgeting for 2020 is $5,556,961. The 2019 estimate, I actually think once we finish the year, those numbers will come in higher than that. We did receive the most recent numbers from the state this morning, and those numbers are actually higher than last month. And so it's pretty amazing, the collections that are coming in. And as I've indicated in the past, a big portion of that is due to the online sales tax requirement that we're seeing. The auto use tax collections, so in 2013, it came in at $724,535. We are estimating $1,180,976 in the 2019 year, and we are budgeting $1,154,621. And so, as I indicated, we're being very conservative in these revenues coming in, and then the construction use tax, we had $181,543 in 2013. This year, we're estimating a pretty big spike, so we've seen quite a few projects in both the county and the city of Canyon City, and then there's been quite a few housing projects in the city of Florence. So we're estimating $487,338, and next year we're budgeting $331,000. So I put this slide in just to kind of show the fund balance in 4 of our larger departments. So the general fund, the Department of Transportation, the Sheriff Fund, and the Department of Human Services, and those are broke out by color. As you can see, we're really trying to maintain those fund balances. So the sheriff, when the sales tax was passed, they saved up a couple of years and then did some pretty substantial projects. And then over the last couple of years, they've grown that back up a little bit. But overall, our funds are doing well. We're able to save up some money, address some of our bigger projects, and then save again. And so our general fund, just to point out that specifically, the general fund balance, we're estimating to be just under $3 million for 2020. And so we're all very proud and excited about just everybody being very conservative and making sure that we're spending the taxpayer funds appropriately. So here is the summary of funds for the 2020 proposed budget. So it's broke out by fund. This is all posted online and it's available, so I won't go through every one of these categories, but a couple of the larger ones. For general fund, we're estimating at $2,862,000 for a beginning balance. The revenues are $12,909,000. The expenses are $12,779,000 with an ending balance of $2,991,000. The sheriff fund, the estimating fund, beginning balance is $2,441,000. We are estimating $9,578,000. The 2020 expenditures are $10,483,000 with an ending estimated balance of $1,536,000. So we are budgeting to increase a couple of positions at the sheriff's department, and unfortunately, it's very difficult for them to maintain all of their positions, and so this would be if all of their positions out there were filled throughout the entire year, these numbers would come in. They are also looking at a couple of smaller projects, and once again, we're being very conservative on the revenues coming in, and so I think this number is a lot less than what we will actually end up seeing at the end of the year. So Department of Transportation, $1,513,000. They're expected to, or we're budgeting $4,076,000 for revenues, spending $4,542,000, which leaves an ending balance of $1,048,000. And then going down to the Department of Human Services, we're looking at $1,215,000 as the estimated beginning balance, with $8,915,000 of revenues and expenses of $9,099,000, which is an ending balance of $1,032,000. So like I said, this whole sheet is posted online if anybody wants to go through it specifically. So to break out the budgeted revenues by category, if you can see, the property taxes are at $6.1 million, sales and use tax are at $11.7 million. Goes through the various other revenues. The intergovernmental revenues are $13.3 million, so this does include the majority of Department of Human Services. It's an intergovernmental revenue. PILT funds are intergovernmental revenues, and then a lot of the grants that we receive also categories of that. So the total revenues that we see are $46,467,000. We are looking at budgeting to use $1,572,000 of reserves, which puts a total at $48,039,000. And then this is just broke out by the chart, so you can see where the majority of the revenues are coming from. The budgeted 2020 expenditures, general fund is at $12,779,000, sheriff fund at $10,483,000, and then going down through the various other departments for the same $48,039,935 of total expenses. The interfund transfers are at $5,260,000, so the total expenses going out are $42,779,000. And then this is the chart that corresponds to those numbers, so you can see which departments are being obligated those funds. And then, so just to summarize, the next steps, we will have a special commissioner meeting on December 19th at 9:30, and in that meeting, we will certify the mill levy and adopt the county's budget. So the 2020 proposed budget is posted on the county website at www.fremontco.com, and a paper copy is available for review in the administration office in room 106.
Okay, any questions?
I don't have a question, but I do have a comment, Mr. Chair. The presentation that Sunny just gave us here represents so much more than just the things that she mentioned here. So the budgeting process for the following year really starts in August, and we sit through days and weeks of discussions between the three of us and Sunny. But even more than that, Sunny sits with department heads, with other elected officials, with everyone who is requesting money in a budget somewhere, and the number is huge. And so it takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of energy to get there. So I would like to say thank you not only to Sunny, but to everyone else who also worked very hard on their budgets. We try as a county, as Sunny has mentioned, to be very conservative. I think that we've managed to do a really good job of that over the last few years, and we stay within that budget, and that's not always the easiest thing to do. So just a big shout out and a huge thank you to everyone who is involved in the process.
This is a public hearing, so if there's anyone that would like to comment on this budget, now would be the time. Public hearing is open. You two have an option if you like. Seeing none, I will close the public hearing. I just it's kind of interesting, Sonny, you mentioned it, that the sales tax increase, and we've talked about this several times, but this online purchasing of all the purchases online, which were not taxed before, are becoming taxed, and they're finding more and more of them all the time because there's still a few out there that don't charge a tax. So that's going to continue to increase, especially with the volume of Amazon packages and all that you see coming into people's homes every day. So that's going to be interesting to see where that stops. And then also the auto use tax, which we talked about at first there, Mr. Clerk, was it's kind of obvious the last 2 or 3 years people have bought cars and now they don't need to for a year or two. So it's kind of reached its plateau. But
and we've been saying for how many years now, when is it going to end? Because I think logically you think that it has to, but it just, for so many years, it just went up and up and up.
Yeah,
so we're not at all surprised to see that it's
pretty
turning down.
interesting, yeah. So you figure at that rate, and provided the economy stays the same, we'll see a dip, and then it'll start to rise again, because then they'll start replenishing those vehicles again.
Yep.
All right, any other comments?
Well, just
or
a couple.
concerns? Okay.
Just want to comment on the fund balance of the general fund. You know, when I first started 7 years ago, I heard the horror stories from former Commissioner Ed Norden on the 08 and 09 recession of how the fund balance got down into the $200,000 range and $300,000 range, and now we're up just shy of $3 million. And that's a buffer for the next recession that shows up, because it will show up. We just don't know when it'll be. And so that's a reflection on Sunny and her taking care of us here, the fiscal responsibility of that. But also I want to just mention that the Conservation Trust Fund, which is the lottery funds, I think when I started it was somewhere around $500,000, maybe to 600,000, somewhere in that range, and we've built it up just shy of $1 million now. And what we're trying to do is build that up to help out with the construction out there with 4-H buildings at Pathfinder Park. It's just something we want to try to do without going to the taxpayers and asking for any kind of a tax increase on that. So I just want to reflect that. If people say, well, wow, you got a big fund balance there. Well, there's a reason for that. So I also want to thank Sunny for keeping us on track on that.
I think that fund balance is important to have as well. Not only could there be a recession, but you never know when there's going to be an emergency. We had to completely rebuild a road here a few years ago because it washed out. And had there not been some reserves, we'd be in the hole and still recouping from that. So it's just like any good business. You don't want to run dollar to dollar. You need to have a little bit of a cushion. So we've got a little bit of a cushion, and it's always good to have more. So thank you for your department and the work you guys have put into this. And we'll go from here. Any other questions? Comments? Okay. As Sunny said, we will be having a special meeting on December 19th to adopt the budget and approve the mill levy. So mark that on your calendars. It'll also be posted before then. But having no other business before us, we are adjourned.